Hello there, I'm Akhaze, the National Development Strategist. Building a house is one thing, but building a nation is another. But the principles will remain the same. As a construction professional with about 20 years experience in the construction industry, I see Nigeria through the lens of foundation, structural integrity, cost, and project delivery. I don't just see politics like a lot of us see, but I see what a massive complex project called Nigeria, that is currently suffering from poor management, corruption, inflated costs and the likes. This is why recently I officially pivoted my focus from just construction, which I've been doing for over 20 years, to one of my passions, which is with national development strategy.
Why now? Because Nigeria and many developing economies at that cannot afford business as usual. We are at a crossroads where we must choose between remaining as perpetual third world countries or we make a deliberate engineered climb to the first world. So over the last few years, numerous governance, and developmental ideas, have been inspired in my heart. I want to believe that God is the one who inspired it, that have one core focus, how Nigeria, African countries, and other developing economies can go from third world status to first world status. As these ideas were inspired in my heart, I began to drop them, in my online note-taking app, Google Keep. I decided to do a screenshot of it and paste there for you to see so that I won't forget them. Here's some screenshot of those notes. Now, these ideas, they are not a collection of complaints. It was a blueprint for our country's or our nation's developmental strategy. So over the forthcoming weeks, months, and perhaps even years, I'll be sharing from those ideas in my notes, my strategy for how a new Nigeria and how a new Nigeria can emerge, including the following. Now, these strategies are going to be focused on these four aspects, which I'm showing you right now, which you can see on the screen. Number one, infrastructure for income. We must stop spending on ego projects, what we call ego projects, and focus on forex generating assets. You find out that in Nigeria today, a lot of our state governments, they pride themselves in building flyovers. Sometimes even in places that are not where flyovers are not really required. But that seems to be like now it has become like a status thing that when you erect flyovers in a certain place, you are doing well. But the question is, does erecting a flyover, does it bring in foreign exchange to that state or to the country? What is the value, what's the return on investment on that flyover? So I say here, would you rather construct flyovers versus world-class hospitals, world-class universities? Infrastructure for income. Our country, Nigeria, and indeed African countries and developing countries need to focus on infrastructure for income. Build infrastructure that will generate income, not just infrastructure that will boost your ego. Some states that are not viable, economically viable in our country, they build airports. You wonder that, who is going to fly to this place? How commercial is that city where that airport is established or where that airport is being constructed? So our country, our leaders must focus on infrastructure for income. So that is one core pillar of some of the things I'm going to be sharing on this channel. Now, the second one is institutional surgery, what I call institutional surgery, because you can see the surgical scissors, surgical knife, in the image. There is a problem we have in our country. There's a problem we have in our country. In our country, we have when you want to build projects, there's a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of things that need to be done, a lot of approvals that need to be taken from here and there, a lot of people that need to append their signature to the project, and if they don't, nothing is going to happen. We need to bypass what we call moribund bureaucracy to get key projects done via the build, operate, transfer model. We are talking about refineries. People are saying only Ajaokuta Dangote has been able to construct refinery in our country. Only him. He's the only person. Why is on his own? I don't know. I think he was so, why can't the government liaise with foreign entities? Foreign entities to come into Nigeria, come and construct key projects like refineries, hospitals, you know, projects that will bring in, create jobs, bring in or reduce our foreign exchange that is going out of our country, and even help us with foreign exchange. We can do this via the build, operate, transfer method. Look at what do you call it? The steel mill, Ajaokuta steel mill that has been abandoned for decades. A simple build, operate, transfer model will revive what that industry. So we need to do something about. We're going to talk a lot about how we can do institutional surgery. Now, the third aspect of what I'm going to be talk about in this channel in terms of how Nigeria can move from third world status to first world status is value assurance. I'm a consultant by profession, and consultant is what we do. We manage the cost aspect of projects. We manage projects, but critically we manage the cost aspect of projects. Now, when I say cost aspect of project, we determine we know how much a client should spend on a project. We know how much what a client should spend on a project. So in the same way, we know how much Nigeria should spend on projects. Unfortunately, in our country today, projects are overbloated. Contract sums are overbloated. They are loaded because the government officials need what kickbacks. So we are going to be talking a lot about what I call value assurance. Creating a dedicated value oriented and project oriented agencies that will kill contract inflation and ensure 100% project delivery, not projects that are completed and after 6 months the project begins to fail because some government officials have collected some kickbacks. We need a project oriented, value oriented agency separate from the ministries that will ensure that what contract inflation is reduced or even annihilated completely or eliminated completely. Now, the last one is what achieving first world citizen status. This is to we as Nigerians or Africans or citizens of third world economies. How can you and I, beyond talking about Nigeria, beyond talking about our countries, how our countries can transition from first world status to third world, from third world status to first world status, how can you and I, living in Nigeria, living in an African country, how can we achieve first world status as a citizen? So we're going to explore how Nigerians and Africans can transition from first world citizens while living in Nigeria and Africa. That means how can you and I live as people in America are living while living in Nigeria? It is very possible. People are doing it. Yes. If you are interested, watch this channel. Watch this channel. Subscribe. We're going to talk so much more about that. Now, a country is only as stable as its foundation. It's time we start building a foundation that can carry the weight of our collective dreams. I invite you to join this conversation. Now, let me ask you, if you had the power to fix just one thing in our national infrastructure today to boost the economy, what would it be? Please drop it in the comments. Let's discuss it. Till the next video, watch out, is going to come very soon. Stay blessed. I'm Akhaze, your National Development Strategist.